You're listening to Radio Primavera Sound, proudly presented by Cupra.
Hello and welcome to Line Noise, and it is my very great pleasure to announce that this week I spoke to Thorsten Quaeschning, who is the musical director and longest standing member of foundational German band Tangerine Dream. They are a group whose influence looms over ambient and electronic music in a very elegant kind of way. I mean, if you've listened to almost any electronic music over the last, 30 years, you've listened to something influenced by Tangerine Dream. And hopefully you've actually listened to Tangerine Dream as well, because they're brilliant. Anyway, we spoke about black metal, about where to start with Tangerine Dream. It's very important. We spoke about founder member Edgar Froese's plans for the band after his tragic death in 2015, and how the current band, in which Quaeschning is joined by Hoshiko, Yamane and Paul Frick, are carrying these plans out. Line Noise is brought to you by Cupra. And I started off the interview by asking Thorsten about the previous night's concert in Barcelona.
In some levels, and it felt quite well yesterday. So I'm not sure how long we played. Like 2 hours 20 to 25. Some maybe that around there. I played maybe 15, but it felt quite right. And the audience was in the first 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, a little bit quiet, but I think they felt it, and this was a good feeling for us.
Well, I have to say, from my perspective, I was just really enjoying being there. You know, I was feeling good in my seat, and I was feeling good with the music. You know, so maybe I wasn't making a lot of noise, but I was just really enjoying the whole experience. Just, you know, being there.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So it's always a big difference between standing and sitting, seated audience. But so thanks so much, because the idea is to take people away, and probably I said this in the introducing, and so that last sentence that I would stop talking from that point, because this is not meant to be a normal kind of grounded thing. So instrumental music is all about giving triggers of thoughts without telling people what to think. Maybe that's the idea about instrumental music against music with lyrics and maybe popular music in general. So you don't have to explain what you're doing. Try to trigger a point in your mind, or in your kind of trigger memory, trigger feeling with a sound without words. And if that's the idea, and then it works by you, just enjoying it to be there. So thank you so much.
So you joined Tangerine Dream in 2005, correct?
Yes. So I was there 2003.
Right.
2005 were the first concerts and the first album that you have to compose these albums before. So I was there 2003. We start composing all the things in 2004. But around about it's now 22 years.
And you're the band's longest standing member, 22 years. Would I be right in saying you're like the band leader as well?
Leader is a strange word.
Or musical director, I think it was more, yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's not needed in many times. Sometimes there are decisions or discussions that have to be lead, and that's a bad word again, to conclusion. And this is not always easy, but I never ask for it. So I was working with Edgar all the time since 2003 or 2000, on stage 2005, and I think it's okay. So there's a very democratic decision platform inside the band, but sometimes there must be a decision. So it's called music director, some things like that. But it's not like I'm the boss of guy. Hopefully not.
So you and I are roughly the same age, I believe. So I'm really fascinated. What does Tangerine Dream mean for you, and what did they mean growing up? Like before you were in the band.
Before I was very much into classical music as well, but in progressive rock and gothic rock, like Fields of Nephilim, Sister, Mission, Cure, all this kind of stuff. And this is a fun thing. The only Tangerine Dream album I owned was an best of that after I showed Edgar 10 years after. It was even not a legal release. It was some. But as keyboard player, synthesizer player, piano player, I always read the magazines, like keyboard magazines. Magazine was very big fan of Edgar's interviews because he was so unbelievably edgy on so many levels. And after that, it's unbelievable and even kind of a surreal experience to be part of a process that is so unbelievable, kind of important for the electronic music like self. Yeah. And that is an honor, but sometimes a big pressure, to be honest, because you can't please anyone at any time. So we even on concerts, especially on concerts. So we have some good mates and some they don't play kind of 3 tracks from the 90s. It was 70s, but on the other hand, every track this is not 3.5 minutes music. So if you play one track, it's 15 to 17 minutes. So we can't play every track. And if you have a favorite track of Tangerine Dream, and we have 170 albums, I played on 68, 69, I'm not sure, to be honest. You can't do this. So if some people have special kind of needs or wishes, you can't please them. And this is hard on some levels, but it's also unbelievable privilege to be in the position just to make music, and it's been heard, and people come to your concerts in the best way of an idea, and this is great. And Tangerine Dream is so important for music with like ambient background. For me, it's also post rock, and if you listen to the 80s, even the Cure bass lines, the repetitive things, it's very close to that. Or Sigur Rós, if you listen to Tangerine Dream side, it's very close to Sigur Rós in my world. And this is music I really enjoy, and I'm so proud of being part of this process.
Well, can I just say, a collaboration with The Cure, Tangerine Dream, The Cure, that would be an absolute, dream. That would be an amazing collaboration. So if that can happen,
So I'm in, absolutely. Okay, I was talking too much of the last answer, probably. But there was one day Gallup quit the band. So just saw in post on Instagram or Facebook, I'm not sure. We were playing in Poland on that day. So I played many themes of The Cure while the session, because I think Gallup and Robert Smith are very important people inside The Cure. Absolutely, Robert. Well, okay, it's easy, but the bass player as well. And I thought it would be a historic date. So on the other hand, nothing happened. He rejoined the band 3 weeks after without cancelling one or concert, but it was for me an historic moment, playing some of The Cure lines. While we were, I'm not sure, it was Dansk in Poland or Warsaw. I think it was Dansk on the day.
Wow.
I thought have to play the melody of Forest and Just Like Heaven. Okay, just a very strange, memory from that day. But it would be great. So it would be one of my dreams. To be honest, we made a remix or a rework of a track from Stephen Wilson from Porcupine Tree called King Ghost, and at least Jason, the drummer of The Cure, was playing it's separate, same shaker on that track. So there was a little collaboration, even it's only the shaker of the drummer.
It counts. It counts.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So obviously, tragically, Edgar died in 2015. He was the founder of Tangerine Dream.
Yeah.
But he and his wife Bianca, they left very clear plans, right, for how the band to continue. How does that sort of?
Yes. So Edgar had plans and concepts for everything. So so he is doing that. Was doing this since 1967, and he had plans for everything. He was the only person who sent me a kind of a new Dropbox invitation on Christmas Eve. And but he was working every day, and it was the hardest working person I ever met. And the idea was to coming back to more sequencer driven electronic music in a good world with contemporary sound design, but coming back to the core of Tangerine Dream. So we played a long time with percussion, drums, saxophone, electronic guitar, like played a normal way, maybe too many notes, too virtuos. And then in 2014, there was a lineup change and the idea to come back to the core. And the last tour we played was November or early December in Australia. And sadly, after 3 weeks after that, he died. And he left a lot of sketches and melodies and even projects. Projects is in like a Cuba's project. This is some song form or format. On the Quantum Gate album, we used it, or like he playing before that part, playing music after the part, like horizontal-wise or vertical-wise, playing a melody on top on it. On the last album, there's a software called Melodyne, which was present also in 2018-19, or 16 as released or working on the last album. But the change in software is unbelievable, that you can be added a polyphonic material, even a single note inside a polyphonic structure like a chord. So it's now that we can compose something and take one of Edgar files, and if there's a chord that is not composed that way for that part of the song, we can change a single note inside the chord to let his music kind of morph into other hours. And this is unbelievable. And here there are hours and hours of material and melodies he composed for the new kind of version of Tangerine Dream. He called that Quantum Years.
Mm-hmm. The last album was Raum, 2022, which is an excellent album. And how does it feel when you have these arrangements from a legendary artist, and it's up to you to finish them or do something with them? I mean, I know you've been in the band 22 years, but how does it feel?
The hardest part of that work is to deselect or mute single tracks. So Edgar had a very strong and strict view of what he want to hear. So and as we worked together, he was okay. Make that shorter. That please delete that to okay. My word, sometimes 5 minutes in the middle, and mute that track. So he was also thinking often vertical wise. So in tracks there are sometimes 8, 9 different bass lines. And it feels so hard to mute 7 of 8, but you have to. It's like having a guide, and so it was. I wasn't so much into electronic music before I joined Tangerine Dream, and so everything I learned about electronic music I learned by Edgar himself, and like sound-wise, but also composing-wise. You have the running sequence in the background, as you can use it in a very classical music adaptation, that you can use a 7 of 8 loop to create some kind of tension, and then releasing it for a rolling feeling on 4/4/8/8, something around the measure. And so Edgar knows exactly what he was doing, because he created that kind of music, and this is unbelievable. So it's not questionable, and it's great to have kind of a hint of the master and on as or the teacher, on the albums, because it's great to have all the knowledge that is 60 from 1960. So 1960, this must be, I cannot imagine it, because if you were listening to music, there was no blueprint about electronic music. You had probably maybe I think Hitchcock, The Birds, and things like that, but it was often used as a gimmicky but great effect music, but not music that creates a new style. Even not, as you can say, like Switch and Bach. But this is not the same. It was just the idea to create sounds from an orchestra with a modular synthesizer, but creating new sounds was a task, and this is maybe even the reason I was there, because we found words to describe sounds after probably 2 months, and you can say, okay, this synth should sound like a bow or a harp or a violin, but that's not the idea, to create electronic music. And without doing funny noises like talking about the idea of sounds and the character of sounds that aren't existing as a regular instrument. I think this is Tangerine Dream is all about that.
And do you still have a lot of material to work with? I mean, on albums coming out in the future?
Yeah. Hours and hours of music. So there are a lot of artists, and Edgar was a very tidied up human being outside a computer. Saving files, you have to connect 10 to 12 hard disks to that the project is working, because I'm not sure what he was doing sometimes. He hated the structure of file architectures inside the computer sometimes, and but there are hours and hours of music that should be released, and in my words, and my hope will be released.
Excellent. Maybe I shouldn't ask this, but Tangerine Dream, I mean, I'm just looking at the Wikipedia, and you've released more than 300 albums, singles, EPs, and compilations. Have you heard everything Tangerine Dream have released, do you think?
So it's 300 is a big number. I think this involves all compilations and all 5 albums. So I think I heard all regular studio albums. I think because of the personal taste, I listen to hopefully most of all 70s and early 80s live as well, and even bootlegs. It's a lot of material, and that's also the idea. So if you listen to one album to the other, you find hopefully a red line. If you listen to Sight and from 73, then Tangram 80, and an album in the 90s, you probably won't think that's sound like the same band. But if you listen from album to album, you see the progress, what's happening, and sometimes which instruments were released in that year. It has a huge impact on the albums. It's just always buying the new instruments and using the new sounds.
So people sometimes ask me where to start with Tangerine Dream. Because there's a lot of music, and my answer is normally, I think, Sorcerer soundtrack. Just I love that record, and also I think it's sort of relatively short songs. It gives you a really good introduction to the band. What would your recommendation be? Where to start? I mean, Realm is a great place to start as well, but where would you say?
Thank you very much. I think maybe 2 hints per century would be great. So I would start maybe with Sight from 73, and then would go to Ricochet for the 70s. So Fedra was the first album with a sequencer, and for me, I really love Ricochet. Sorcerer is shorter. It's true, because it was on soundtrack, and were used sometimes only 20 seconds inside the film. That's a great start. Because it's very Tangerine Dream-ish, using the melodies as very minor third type of styles, using mellotrons, and this is very typical for Tangerine Dream in the 70s. 80s, maybe Exit, and on the other hand, Underwater Sunlight, which introduced Paul Hasslinger as a third member in 86, late 86. So I'm not so keen with 90s. I probably understood what they were doing, because they had all the analog stuff, every synthesizer, what you can imagine of, and then in the 90s you got all the digital synthesizer with new sounds that felt so new in 95. In my world, sadly, things from the 70s sounds more time. You don't have a time stamp on that music. In 95, it felt a little bit strange, because it had also the print made in 95 and 96, so it's not my time. But it is okay. Exit and Ricochet is the conclusion of a very long answer. Sorry for that.
It's a very good answer. It's a very makes sense. I mean, I sort of asked this earlier, but what do you think is the legacy of Tangerine Dream? I mean, ambient music, I guess you could say new age music, electronic music, it's all been influenced, krautrock. Sorry, I hate that term, but you know what I mean. Kosmische. Well, yeah, what do you think is the legacy?
The human factor inside electronic music. So it's exactly, it's very hard to name it. So electronica would be okay, ambient would be okay. Edgar very much disliked the term new age music, because there was an unbelievable interview. He said that new age is the idea of having 2 pieces of big cream cake that is too much for everything, and you get a picture of what he was thinking about it. It's too sweet. It's you don't need all the strange bell sounds in the highs, and you don't need the wind sound in the back. That was his idea of why new age is a bad term, but it's ambient, but I think it's a human factor. So if you have Kraftwerk, it is so unbelievably precise what they're doing. Everything is controlled in every second. Tangerine Dream was and is about transporting visions and feelings into electronic music. Many things are hand played. So I talked with Jean-Michel Jarre, and we play. Okay, in June we're going to play a concert together in Helsinki. We did a track together. But Oxygen is a hand-played bass line, and I made a remake for him playing that, and so this isn't programmed. This is played because so I normally write down. I hear it and I write down all the notes. And okay, this irregular. This is not the algorithm. So there's 2 or 3 parts in the bass line that's not in computer, because there's a little like 16th change on one note or irregularity in type of the harmonization, and I think that is the idea of Tangerine Dream, transporting feelings using electronic instruments, but trying to involve ideas, visions, and character into it without too much use of machines making it 100% correct.
I like that, human. So I was explaining to a friend. I was talking to a friend yesterday before the concert about Tangerine Dream, and I came up with one of the things I think I most like about the band, and I'm not sure how it will sound to you. I definitely mean it in a good way. But one of the words I came up with was inefficient. You know how there's so much electronic music that's like, right, 8 bars, change so people will dance more. And Tangerine Dream is not that. Tangerine Dream is like, yes, it can be 17 minutes long, or it can be 8, or whatever. It's not about. And I love that. I love that. Just the ability to just be like, yeah, why not? You know, does that make any sense? Kind of inefficiency?
Absolutely. So this is nowadays a problem if you talk to record companies. So we have even different running orders on like Spotify, CD, and vinyl, because people who listen to vinyl have more time. So there's this double vinyl, and the first side A disc or vinyl 1 is only 1 track, and normally a record company hates you for that, because it's 20 minutes. So and if people on Spotify are just skipping that, it doesn't count. So they like to do, in their word, they like to have probably 10 index points inside of 20 minutes and calling a part 1, 2. No, but I can understand you. It's the idea of creating atmospheres, and that music is allowed to take their time. This is unbelievable. Like long form music, like a little bit classical music. This is the antithesis for TikTok things, like doom scrolling every 10 seconds, and then you have a chord change every 2 minutes. So sometimes if you play things from the 70s, like Rubicon, there's a chord change in minute 12 something. This is hard to count. If you normally would have we have a click in the ears. You could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, but it would be like 400 something. Now, the taking time, making it humanized, and so maybe that's also the reason sometimes people aren't kind of connecting with it, because it's not the same feeling. If you have a straight 4 on the floor, it's easy to connect with. Like you can dance to, and the 4 or 8 bar loop pattern, it's predictable, and that's easy to. If you want to have fun in the club, it's easy because you know what's going to happen in the next 4 bars, exactly the same. And but that's not our idea in a good word.
I was going to say, when you were talking about the word new age, and how Edgar used to hate that term, it made me think that it's kind of, it feels a bit like musical fashion has come around again to Tangerine Dream, because I didn't like the idea of new age music for very long. And then like a few years ago, there were people who were talking a lot about it, and kind of like, you'd be like, okay, no, there are these very good albums. And I'm not saying Tangerine Dream is new age, particularly if Edgar didn't like the term, but like, do you know what I mean? It almost feels like, not in a TikTok way, but like musical fashion has come back round. There's an appetite for things that are kind of beautiful and with big melodies, and you can relax to.
Yes. I think GTA 5 was very much part of the progress. So everything leads to the counterpoint, maybe. So if you have the hippie-esque music that leads to the very much technical music like prog rock was sometimes having singers in a chicken costume doing a theater thing. I really love Peter Gabriel, but you know what I mean.
Yes,
and
yeah.
This leads to punk rock in the 70s. This was so. I'm not sure what the counter movement is nowadays. So because it was if you go to the 90s, you have heavy metal, hard rock, then going to grunge, then going to the very much party-esque electronic music like Eurodance and things like that. And now it's a mixture of everything. So I'm not sure what the counter movement is. Everything I would say now is probably too strange and arrogant. Because the midway of everything that is maybe for me presented by people like Taylor Swift and everything in that area is the conclusion of everything. And maybe it's time to get back to kind of sub-genre-esque ideas and having a big melody and that you can like relate to or just concentrate on. It's hard to say, but I think, okay, the easy way would be to say GTA 5 was sold 192 million times, and it was kind of leading people. So one of our favorite themes, which is strange and sometimes sad at the same time, if you played GTA 5 and you press the pause screen doing the navigation system thing, this is probably the most heard Tangerine Dream song of all times, because it's 192 million people were using the pause screen to select the next mission. And that's Tangerine Dream track. There are YouTube videos with kind of millions of views, like looping it for 6 hours. Because, and it's strange because big melodies aren't used in films anymore. There's no movies like Gone with the Wind and in that times. And inside a computer game, you can't do the big theme thing because in the 80s, you probably, if you played Tetris, Super Mario, or Bubble Bubble, it was the same melody from level 1 to 99. Okay, well, it was a faster version for the kind of alert thing inside the game, but you can't do this anymore because people are playing this for years.
Yeah.
And if they were hear the same melody, it would be going mad. So it's about, I think melody is also a big word. So if you have a motive of 5 notes in a row that is recognizable, and or you can remember the next day, this is the nowadays idea of melody. Okay, it sounds strange, but the thing is that hopefully people coming back to just kind of enjoying atmospheres inside of the music, and atmosphere inside music needs time to grow and evolve.
Quick question: how did the Blood Incantation collaboration happen? I've got a friend who absolutely loves Blood Incantation. He said there's a Tangerine Dream song on this album. I said no, there isn't. And he went, yes, there is, and there was. How did that happen?
That's strange. I know. I did a lot of black metal in the 90s and gothic rock things, and they tried to contact us, and to be honest, I think the management never responded. I once did music for a film called Lots of Chaos, which is yes.
Yeah, I know the film. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are Tangerine Dream music inside the film, and Hieronymus, the guitar player of Mayhem, which the film is about, was a big fan of Klaus Schulze and Tangerine Dream, but of the 80s, very 80s-ish movies, like his favorite movie was A Park Is Mine, which is Tommy Lee Jones coming back from Vietnam with a machine gun and says, well, the Central Park is mine. That was the idea of the film. And they tried to license the music for that to use inside the film about Mayhem, and had no chance to find the... Whoa, that's the hotel phone.
Oh.
Okay, sorry.
Do you...
No, give me a second. Perfect,
course.
just... okay, perfect. And they can't find the copyright holder. And because it was an 80s movie company that was sold to another movie company, was sold. So until they asked me to do remakes of the soundtrack. And okay, to another long story. And I was at the premiere of the film and met Attila from Mayhem, the singer. He's also has is singing and sung. Like Sun O, but O.
Yeah.
And I recorded things with him, and he had my phone number. So as Blood Incantation, they were on tour with Cannibal Corpse and Mayhem at the time. So we can't reach Thorsten because he's in Berlin, and they had booked the Hansa Studios, which is one of the biggest recording studios in Berlin, where Tangerine Dream, but Marillion, U2, R.E.M., Cupra, Neubaut, and Depeche Mode, all these guys had recorded the albums. And so just Attila from Mayhem just gave them my number. These are really straightforward guys who love music. The little bit fun thing about that, I heard the version I played to was completely without vocals. So I visited in the studio, and it was so I'm just making notes. It was, for me, it was kind of hints of Pink Floyd and King Crimson inside it. There was I heard things like a little bit like Frame, King Crimson, and there was a chord structure that reminded me of Comfortably Numb. From Pink Floyd, so I got a feeling what they tried, hopefully felt while composing it, and was playing some synths over tracks, and recorded one track with sequencer in and all the modular stuff for them. I think it worked quite well. So it was picked as the best metal album 2022 by Metal Hammer and Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater and some others. But these are great people to understand. They are working very hard and knowing what they're doing. So that's sometimes we're doing collaboration. But we did this with Jean-Michel Jarre, I think Moise, which is Danish, a Swedish act. There is, okay, this is maybe a secret to that point. I'm not sure, but there's a thing we did for propaganda as well in the last month.
Oh, great. Look, you've been very generous with your time. I wanted to ask one more thing. I don't know if that phone call was you being summoned to leave. Okay, so the last thing I want to ask was basically you're doing 50 years of Phaedra tours this year. I don't think Phaedra is the other album I would maybe advise people to go for first. I mean, it's renowned as one of the classics, but yeah, why 50 years of that album? I mean, obviously because it is 50 years, but why do you think that album is so special, has reverberated?
So Phaedra was the first album with a sequencer in it, a step sequencer. You have single notes that are repeatingly continuously. As a stylistic idea and decision. This is and this marks the first use of sequencer inside of the Tangerine Dream album. And it has, I think it also is the first opportunity or possibility, the first possibility to recreate things. If you have things like Artem, Side, Alpha Centauri, these are compositions made in the moment, probably very much related to the environment of the moment you recorded it. Yeah, there's single pings and sound effects in some seconds. And Phaedra, you had clear, you can write down that music. And so you can recreate it. You can play the main theme of Phaedra. You can recreate the bass. So it very much the start of. So it's house music without the bass drum.
Yeah.
A little bit like that. And I think it's one of the most important albums for electronic music. So this year, so last year we did the first Phaedra anniversary show because it was released 74. We play some shows. There's a code Phaedra anniversary shows as well in this year. I think Manchester and Birmingham. This year would be the 50-year anniversary of Rubicon and Ricochet.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the idea to play a concert related to an album.
Yeah.
And so that the idea of a band is stronger than the members involved would mean there could be a kind of 50 years of Realm album in 73. Sorry, 72. 2072, 50 years after. So I think it's fine to remembering things and kind of like have your bow to show the music in the complete music in a row. So we changed the running order to make it more. I'm not even that felt a little bit strange, but for concert the running order change works better than the idea on an album because it's a different situation. Listen to music at home or in a concert hall. But to play the whole thing for an audience, it's a great idea.
Thorsten, you've been very generous with your time. Thank you so much. As I said, fantastic concert yesterday. I will see you in 2072 for the 50th anniversary of Realm will both be, I think, 85. No, 95. I think we'll both be. But yeah, I'm sure we can make it. I'll look forward to it.
Perfect. Thanks so much for having me. And this was great questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, thanks so much. Have a great, I was about to say rest of the tour. The kind of tour's finished, but I know there's more dates coming up and an exhibition and loads of things.
Yeah, 3 days off. And we start on Sunday in Frankfurt, the German tour, which ends on the 1st of May in Berlin. Then our 5 days off, and then it's Manchester and Birmingham. Then 3 weeks off, and then this is a strange collection of shows. We are playing Melbourne, Sydney, Oslo, and Helsinki in a row, which means crossing 24 time zones, flying there and back.
Wow. Well, enjoy your 3 days off. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Bye then. Bye.
You're listening to Radio Primavera Sound, proudly presented by Cupra.